Story this morning, former President Jimmy Carter now lying in repose in Atlanta. Services for the late president started yesterday at his boyhood home in Plains, followed by a motorcade to the Georgia State Capitol and an afternoon service to remember the 39th president. Our Archer Shashadri looks at the impacts that Carter made once he left the White House.
The final preparations for one final goodbye for former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. Here in Atlanta, there are no shortage of signs and memorabilia. Things like Jimmy Carter Boulevard streets named after him, as well as the Carter Center here in Atlanta that's seeing a growing tribute of people dropping off flowers, peanuts, and candles to pay homage to the former president. Those who worked with him say he was a man of compassion, humanity, and someone who was selfless, always giving back to help those who are underprivileged.
Well, you just have to ask one question. What other president can you just walk up to and shake their hand on a Sunday morning? He was teaching Sunday school at his church. So he was truly a man of the people.
Jimmy Carter built homes for Habitat for Humanity well into his 90s, led Sunday school services at the Maranatha Baptist Church in his hometown of Plains, and authored more than 30 books.
That the poor and the downtrodden should be what we are. Those are the problems we should be solving. So his impact could never be measured because he was the spirit of America. He meant so much to so many people.
Those who knew him and worked with him say he was someone who was humble and grounded.
My father, Hosea Williams, and President Jimmy Carter disagreed on a lot of things. They had spirited conversations. But the one thing they agreed on is it's our responsibility to take care of Americans sleeping outside, not having a minimum wage, not having any place to live. They agreed on the human rights issues, and that's how I knew President Jimmy Carter.
Elizabeth Omalami, who runs Hosea Feed the Hungry in Atlanta, says Carter wanted to do more for the poor, the homeless, and the underprivileged. She says he never neglected the little things and always wanted to extend a hand to the voiceless, the forgotten, and the hopeless.
The impact is just go to Africa and look at how many thousands of people the guinea worm disease was killing before he took that on as a challenge. He saved millions of lives through that work. How many people have been housed at Habitat for Humanity who would have been on the street? There are another millions of people.
The celebration and services will take place in Plains, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. until next Thursday for 60 hours starting on Saturday. There will be a public visitation at the Carter Center in Atlanta that starts Saturday at 7 p.m. and will go throughout the night into Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. At 100 years, he accomplished not only a lot in his time at the White House, but also his time outside, creating a legacy at the Carter Center to restore peace, monitor elections, as well as eradicate diseases. Reporting in Atlanta, Archer Shashadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief.